This is not just Arsenal.
Incredible statistic, no? I think they're the best team in the Premier League right now.
Best team in the Premier League?
Probably wider than that as well. I just think they're playing so...
This is a monster built piece by piece.
I actually think as we sit here today, right now, Arsenal have had the best...
While rivals spend 200 million chasing forwards who may or may not deliver, Arsenal's mastermind Andrea Berta spent 254 million building something far more dangerous.
We've got to give this guy some serious credit. The way he has been operating this transfer window, it's been stealth and it's been brilliant.
The world's best pivot, Martin Zubimendi.
The moment I start to think about that, I feel goosebumps and excitement.
The Premier League's most unstoppable left winger, Eberechi Eze. The deadliest number 9 on the planet, Victor Gyökeres. A rising wall in Cristian Mosquera. One of the league's most reliable anchors, Christian Norgard.
Close, Martinelli hangs one up, there's Norgard!
A European champion in Kepa, and the chaos of Noni Madueke. And the signings didn't stop there. Arsenal brought in Piero Hincapié, a proper baller at left back on loan with an option to buy. Now that's what you call a squad with serious depth.
Piero Hincapié to Arsenal. Here we go. Deal agreed for the Ecuadorian defender to leave Bayer Leverkusen and join Arsenal on a transfer agreed for 52 million euros plus 10% sell-on clause, a 5-year contract for Hincapié.
This is not reckless spending, this is calculated dominance. And here's the terrifying part. Arsenal were already a dangerous team before this transfer window. They already had David Raya, the safest hands in England, with 21 clean sheets in 57 games.
What's on to on the overlap, it's played back in for Johnson, what a save!
They already had the most solid backline in the league. William Saliba, Gabriel Magalhaes, Ricardo Cariflori, and Jurgen Timber. A defensive fortress.
Your pillar of strength is your two centre-backs, trust me. Saliba and Gabriel are the best partnership in the league. I've been saying it for the last 2 and a bit years. They are the best partnership in the Premier League. Van Dijk's the best centre-back, I think. But the best partnership is these.
They already had geniuses in the midfield with Declan Rice and Martin Odegaard. Add Zubimendi, and suddenly you're staring at the best midfield trio in the Premier League.
Well, you hope so. When you look at Zubimendi, and we've got to remember, when we done the finals, man, this man came on for Rodri and nothing changed, right? Incredible. And you watched everything about him is progressing the ball. Even when you watch him, he wins it, he gets it forward. We need...
Now, imagine all of that feeding the firepower of Eze and Gyökeres, alongside Arsenal's golden jewel, Hill End's own Bukayo Saka.
Bukayo Saka! Wow! Leaves his calling card for the new season!
And if that wasn't enough, Hill End has delivered again. Max Daumann, the teenager who could define English football's future.
And then, of course, later on, to add to that, they bring Max Daumann on, and he looked, 15. I still can't believe this kid's 15.
Arsenal don't just have depth, they have firepower, they have balance. They have killers in every single line. And if you think this is just hype, wait until you see what this squad can do. This is Arsenal 2025, and the Premier League should be very, very afraid. Everyone thinks the star signing of Arsenal this season is Victor Gyökeres, or maybe Martin Zubimendi, or even Eberechi Eze. But no, the real blockbuster signing happened on March 31st of 2025.
With all of them, with Andrea now, again, as I expected, someone extremely professional, very thorough, very determined, and bringing something different to the table as well. So I enjoy a lot work.
That was the day Arsenal secured Andrea Berta, the brain behind Atletico Madrid's golden decade. This man shaped Simeone's war machine. From 2013 until January 2025, he built sides that lifted 2 La Liga titles, 1 Europa League, a Spanish Super Cup, and twice reached the Champions League final. Now, he's standing right beside Miguel Arteta. His job? To bring the Premier League back to North London. And trust me, he started like a genius.
He's got the experience and he's got the resume and the CV to not doubt that he has the ability, that if you're a club that actually wants to achieve big things, he can execute. That's a fact based off of what he's done at Atletico Madrid, right?
Berta is famous across Europe for building squads that look terrifying without throwing cash around recklessly. Smart moves, ruthless decisions, always a competitive squad. Since landing at Arsenal, he's pulled the strings behind 8 major signings all across the pitch. Gyökeres and Eze up top, Zubimendi and Norgard in midfield, Mosquera, and Sunin Kapie in defense, added Madueke and Kepa, and suddenly, Arsenal looked like a juggernaut. This isn't just transfer business. This is a statement of intent. Because Arsenal don't just want to battle Liverpool, City, Chelsea, or Spurs for the Premier League.
Team with Pep Guardiola, they always a favor. But of course, my opinion this year is Arsenal number one.
They want Real Madrid, Barcelona, PSG, Bayern. They want Europe. The eyes of the football world are now fixed on the Arsenal of Berta. And make no mistake, this is one of the smartest, most complete squad builds anywhere in the top 5 leagues. Arsenal have gone all in on Andrea Berta to lead their revolution. 8 big names, a ruthless plan, and the dream of taking this club back to the very top of world football. Arsenal didn't just spend big this summer, they spent smart. They brought in Victor Gyökeres and Eberechi Eze, 2 forwards arriving at the absolute peak of their form, both carrying numbers that would terrify any defense in Europe.
Luke, where do you want to start? Because there are so many angles of like joy from that day. Whether it's Eberechi Eze and that full circle moment in his career, whether it's Gyökeres quieting all the trolls online, and scoring 2 brilliant finishes in their own right. Max Daumann. We'll talk about the injuries in a.
Gyökeres? He tore Portugal to pieces. 97 goals in just 2 seasons at Sporting. He destroyed Manchester City in Europe.
Through on goal again.
He was the pure number 9 Arsenal had been missing for years. Not since Aubameyang in 2019 had a striker in this club looked capable of breaking the 20-goal mark in the Premier League. That drought is over.
I feel he's going to score. I haven't had that feeling from a striker maybe since Aubameyang prime times. I haven't had that from even Jesus. Nowadays, I see Jesus on the ball. All right.
Then comes Eberechi Eze, the boy who left Arsenal to grow and came back as the best left winger in the Premier League. He was the talisman of Crystal Palace, the man who carried them to their first ever FA Cup, scoring against Spurs in the semi-final.
Palace are fancying this.
And against City in the final. He also delivered the Community Shield against Liverpool. This wasn't just form, this was greatness in clutch moments. 14 goals, 11 assists. A monster finish to last season with 6 consecutive games on the score sheet. And if his strike against Chelsea in the opening week hadn't been ruled out, the streak would still be alive today. But more than numbers, it's his mentality.
It's impossible to be the best every single time and to win everything, but my mindset is even if I'm injured or if I'm carrying something or whatever it is, I still believe that I've got what it takes to be the best. So
Eze's a warrior. He turns up when it matters most against Arsenal, against Chelsea, against City. And now he's come home, back to North London, back to where it all began. Together, Gyökeres and Eze give Arsenal something they didn't have: balance. 2 puzzle pieces that fit perfectly into Mikel Arteta's system. 2 signings that turn Arsenal from contenders into predators. And tactically, these moves change everything. They are the keys to unlocking the most feared attack in the Premier League.
Eze coming out today was such a beautiful moment. I don't know if people saw, right, but when he came out and, he was looking around and he's taking the applause of the crowd. But what was a great moment is that when he was walking back in to the tunnel now, he sort of looked up and sort of went, yeah, God, only...
Arsenal didn't just buy a winger. They bought a game changer. Last season, the Gunners lacked goals and creativity from open play. Too often, they leaned too heavily on Bukayo Saka and Martin Odegaard to make something happen. Against low blocks, they ran out of ideas. Against compact midfields, they became predictable. That's where Eberechi Eze comes in. He doesn't just add depth, he adds oomph. Look at the numbers. 16 goal contributions in the league, the same as Saka. A higher expected goals tally than Kai Havertz, 10.5 versus 9.5. 100 shots, more than any Arsenal player managed. 58 chances created, ranking him 3rd. 11 through balls, only behind Odegaard. And 138 dribbles, comfortably more than Martinelli. Eze isn't the kind of player who passes sideways and waits for someone else to take responsibility. He takes the risky options. He shoots when others hesitate. He dribbles when others recycle. He forces chaos. And that's exactly what Arsenal missed last season. They only managed 69 goals in the league, 17 fewer than champions Liverpool. Eze's output, his willingness to take players on, and his bravery in possession is the antidote to sterile dominance. Statistically, he's elastic. He slithers through lines, weaving in tight spaces, carrying the ball rather than waiting for a passing lane. He attempts 27% more dribbles than Arsenal's best performer last year, and no Arsenal player created more chances from ball carries. Arsenal didn't just sign Eze for numbers. They signed him because he changes the way this team plays football. The Premier League is shifting towards transitions. More goals scored from quick counters right after the ball is won. And that is exactly where Eze is deadly.
Some space, just effortlessly gliding forward here. Emre Eze!
Few players in the league can pick up the ball, weave through the midfield, and carry it at full throttle like him. Rather than seeing Eze purely as a weapon against deep blocks, his biggest gift might be stopping Arsenal from even facing those blocks. With him in central areas, Arsenal can hit back immediately when possession changes hands, moving direct and vertical instead of slow recycling the ball and giving the opponent time to breathe. That doesn't mean his creativity is wasted in settled attacks. Far from it. Arsenal leaned far too heavily on their right-hand side last season. 44% of their attacks came through Odegaard and Saka, making them predictable. Eze provides balance. He tilts the pitch back, adding unpredictability and frees up Saka to do what he does best, arrive in the box unmarked. Imagine Eze and Odegaard operating as dual number 8s. Both carrying, both daring, both injecting verticality. And Arteta has options. Eze can also be deployed wide left. Cutting inside is far more dangerous upgrade on Trossard. Or if needed, he can even operate it as a false 9, replicating what Havertz offered between the lines, but with more explosiveness on the turn and more directness in transition. It felt like deja vu at the Emirates, when Victor Gyökeres finally opened his Arsenal account. We'd seen it all before. 97 goals in just 2 seasons at Sporting Lisbon. Many of them carbon copies of that trademark move. Sprint into the channel, cut inside, shift onto his right foot, bang. Against Leeds, the story repeated itself. One long ball from Calafiori, one powerful run, one ruthless finish, and the Swedish giant ripped it into the net. That's Gyökeres in a nutshell. He doesn't just stand like a static number 9. He hunts space, constantly pulling wide into those half channels where defenders hate to follow him. He stretches the back line, gives his team an outlet, and creates one-on-one battles he almost always wins. Last season alone, he made 85 sprints in behind at over 25 kilometers per hour. 24 more than Chelsea's Nicholas Jackson, who led the Premier League in that metric. That's outrageous. And here's the scary part. Arsenal didn't have that weapon before. Their attack leaned too much on Bukayo Saka and Odegaard, always funneling down the right. But with Gyökeres constantly threatening from the left channel, Arteta's team suddenly feels balanced, unpredictable, lethal from both sides. And when you add Eberechi Eze into the mix, the danger multiplies. Because Eze's the one who carries the ball, who dares the riskier pass, who looks for the killer through ball. We already saw it against Leeds. One early pass in behind, Gyökeres sprinting, defenders collapsing, the combination is dynamite. What makes Gyökeres special is not just the goals, though he has them in ridiculous numbers, it's the variety of goals. Tap-ins, head-ins, one-on-ones, near-post rockets, even penalties. He outperformed his expected goals last season by plus 8.2, something only world-class finishers manage consistently. Over half of his 127 shots were on target. That's ruthless efficiency. But here's the underrated part. Gyökeres isn't only a finisher. He creates, he drops deep, drags defenders, combines in tight spaces, and opens up lanes for others. He's the kind of forward who forces defenders into impossible choices. Follow him and leave gaps, or hold shape and give him space to turn. That movement is exactly what Arsenal lacked when low blocks suffocated them last season. So what does this all mean? Arsenal finally have the striker they've been crying out for since Aubameyang's peak. A striker who doesn't just wait for service, but manufactures chaos, turns half chances into goals, and lifts the entire front line with his presence. He is chance conversion, playmaking, and intimidation, all rolled into one. And make no mistake, if Arsenal's creators feed him properly, if those runs are spotted early and often, Gyökeres won't just score. He'll decide titles. And if Gyökeres and Eze weren't scary enough, add to that front line the raw talent of Bukayo Saka, the crown jewel of Haaland, the king of Arsenal's right wing.
How much would it take for you to sell Bukayo Saka?
It's priceless, you know.
Don't do that to me.
Saka isn't just a winger. He's a creator, a weapon, a nightmare for any defender who dares to face him one-on-one. He thrives drifting inside, receiving the ball between the lines, turning on the half step and driving play forward with that perfect blend of control, balance, and vision. Few English players possess that gift, and fewer still make it look so effortless. His dribbling is pure street football, polished at the elite level. Step overs to hypnotize, then a quick burst onto his left foot, whipping crosses and chips into that back post zone where teammates are already waiting. It's become his signature move, and when defenders get too tight, trying to anticipate the pass into his feet, Saka punishes them by spinning in behind, surging into the box, and cutting a ball across the goal. That awareness, that split-second decision-making is what makes him priceless. He's matured too, not just a creator anymore, but a scorer in his own right. 12 goals and 14 assists last season, including decisive displays against Real Madrid, prove that he is now Arsenal's clutch man in the biggest games.
But it's what you do off the ball that impresses me the most. Is just outstanding what you do. Not only you, Martinelli also. So only for that's you can try to chip the ball next time again.
He began this season in the same fashion, smashing home a wonder goal against Leeds to set the tone.
Saka, chance, goal! Arsenal lead 2-0, Bukayo Saka, his first chance of the game.
But as cruel fate would have it, his first injury has already struck, and Arsenal must have to wait a few weeks for their talisman to return. But don't think for a second the attack falls apart without him. Because behind the headline trio of Gyökeres, Eze, and Saka, Arteta has built a front line with frightening depth. Gabriel Jesus may be inconsistent, but his work rate, pressing, and link-up are invaluable. Kai Havertz, once fit, gives that technical variation between the lines. Leandro Trossard remains the ultimate wildcard, always capable of coming off the bench to score. Nani Madueke adds direct dribbling power, Reece Nelson brings pace, and Gabriel Martinelli is still a menace with his vertical runs and relentless energy. This is no longer an Arsenal attack reliant on one or two names. This is an armada. If last season the weak point of Arsenal was their attack, now the midfield is what truly makes this squad terrifying. Because the Gunners don't just have players to create, they've built an engine room stacked with footballing geniuses. It starts with Martin Zubimendi, the signing that could change everything. Arsenal have been crying out for a true number 6, someone who can start moves, dictate tempo, and screen against counters. That's exactly what Zubimendi does. Think Rodri at City, Fabinho in his prime at Liverpool, press resistant, calm under pressure, able to turn and break lines with one touch.
Un grande, ya lo he dicho que para mí ya sabéis que es un futbolista segundo mejor del mundo.
Last season, he ranked top 4 in La Liga for passes, touches, and successful distribution. Numbers that prove he's the metronome Arteta has been missing. And now, with Zubimendi locking down midfield, Declan Rice can storm forward with freedom, while Odegaard focuses on creating destruction higher up the pitch. And that's where it gets scary. Martin Odegaard is already the most creative midfielder in the Premier League. No one carved out more open play chances than him last season. And even after a dip caused by injury, his quality is undisputed. His left foot is surgical. 23 goals and 17 assists over 2 seasons prove that when Odegaard is on the ball, something happens.
Martin Odegaard, fantastic finish.
But Arteta didn't stop there. He added Christian Norgard, one of the most consistent pivots in England. Less flashy than Odegaard, but reliable, aggressive, and with a long-range strike that keeps keepers on edge. Add to that Max Daumann, the prodigy from Hale End, and you have balance, creativity, and the future rolled into one. Daumann is pure silk on the ball. Feints, turns, disguised passes. At just 15, he's already out-muscling senior defenders, drawing fouls, winning penalties, and showing maturity beyond his years. Against Newcastle in preseason and Leeds in the Premier League, he showed it all. Driving runs, anticipation, a penalty won.
Daumann goes down. Referee has a think. Penalty.
This kid is the future of English football, and he's already here. And don't forget Declan Rice, the lungs of Arsenal, the leader, a ball winner who runs until the final whistle and still has the quality to ping in a free kick or smash one in from range. He's also made Arsenal the deadliest side in the Premier League from corners and set pieces, a weapon that's been missing for years. Now put all these names together: Zubimendi, Rice, Odegaard, Norgard, Daumann. Add depth options like Lokonga, Marino, and Nwaneri. This isn't just a strong midfield, it's arguably the best in the Premier League, and one that can go toe-to-toe with Real Madrid, Bayern, or PSG in the Champions League. If Arsenal's attack is lethal and their midfield is terrifying, then the masterpiece of Mikel Arteta is the defense, the wall that all of Europe wants to copy, but so few can build. The numbers are insane.
One goes short, they trust each other, they cajole, they push each other on. They look like they're battling to be the best between them, let alone everybody else.
Last season, Arsenal conceded just 34 goals in the entire Premier League, the lowest in England. This season, the fortress looks even stronger. 2 more clean sheets already, and the opponents averaging just 0.44 expected goals per match. Teams are barely managing 1.8 shots on target per 90 minutes against them. That's domination. At the heart of it, the unbeatable duo, Gabriel Magalhaes and William Saliba. Together, they forge the most formidable partnership in the league. Gabriel is the warrior, the leader in blocks, throwing himself at everything, while Saliba is pure elegance, anticipation, composure, and footwork that makes him almost impossible to dribble past. They read space like chess players and crush attacks before they even begin. Behind them, David Raya has been sensational. With 21 clean sheets in 57 games since last season, he's building a case as the best goalkeeper in the world.
And your goalkeeper, if anyone was questioning him when he signed from Brentford, man, listen, the one he saved on Cunha at a tight angle, whether it was going in or not, I'm not sure, but still got his hand to it. Really.
But even Raya himself knows he's protected by the most organized backline in Europe. On the flanks, Arteta has weapons disguised as defender. Miles Lewis-Skelly, the Hail and Jewel, energetic and fearless. Ricardo Calleflori, with his elegance in build-up and pinpoint passing. Jurrien Timber, a powerhouse who runs up and down the wing like an unstoppable machine. Any of them could start, and the rotation means Arsenal never lose intensity. But now listen to this. Arsenal have sealed a deal with Bayern Leverkusen to bring in Piero Hincapié, and it could be the final piece of Arteta's defensive armor. The argument is a season-long loan with an option to buy for 52 million plus a 10% sell-on clause. Serious business for a player of his caliber. Adding Hincapié to a backline already boasting William Saliba and Gabriel means Arsenal now have depth and flexibility that no other side in the league can match. Ricardo Calleflori and Jakub Kiwior can now both shuffle between center back and left backs, while new signing Christian Mosquera is another versatile weapon. On the flanks, Timber and Ben White have the right side locked, but with Hincapié in the mix, even Miles Lewis-Skelly and Zinchenko could see their minutes under threat. It's not just about depth, it's about balance, giving Arteta the freedom to rotate without losing quality. A defender who can slot across the line with pace, aggression, and composure, Hincapié makes this Arsenal defense look even more terrifying. But what makes it even scarier is that Arsenal defend as a team. Odegaard triggers the press high, Rice shields the backline, the fullbacks invert and overload midfield. It's an orchestra of pressing and discipline, and the opponents have no air to breathe. What Arteta and Andrea Berta have built is nothing short of frightening. A squad stacked from back to front with pure quality, Arsenal now boasts the best keeper in the Prem, a backline that's a brick wall, a midfield dripping with talent and balance, and a front line sharp enough to cut through anyone. Every area of the pitch is covered. Every piece fits the puzzle perfectly. The excuses are over. It's time to turn potential into trophies. This is the moment for Mikel Arteta to drag Arsenal back to the very top of the Premier League, where they truly belong.